All Things TechIE Podcast is a product of the Extreme Media Network. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie. That's XTREME media.ie.
It's Justin Dawson. It's the All Things TechIE Podcast. Hello. Now, I have to say to all our listeners who's listening in on an audio podcast, the next couple of episodes of our podcast will make more sense if you go to our YouTube page, like and subscribe on our YouTube page, and also visit our website, www.allthingstech.ie, because we are into ISE 23, Integrated Systems Europe 2023 in Barcelona in a week's time. And a lot of the upcoming podcasts and videos are going to make a lot more sense if you actually see them in a visual context. I will be trying to explain it in an audio context to our audio listeners, but as this is an AV podcast and we're going to Integrated Systems Europe, one of the biggest audiovisual conferences in the world that happens annually, you're better off watching the video. So go to the YouTube channel. So because I won't be able to get to every booth, there's over 1,000 booths at ISE this year in 2023, I had to do some pre-recorded shows and pre-ISE shows. So you're going to have a series of shows over the next week. I hope you like them. Do subscribe on YouTube. Do give your comments at www.allthingstech.ie. And if you bump into me at ISE 23, I will be doing podcasts in the Influencers Lounge and a couple of other places. And I'm on stage on Thursday at 12 o'clock with Jane Ross from Zoom. So do come along and listen to that discussion. But if you do bump into me, I do have some swag. I am giving away some swag. So do say hello. I hopefully will have some swag to give you. But enjoy the next couple of shows and hope to see you at ISE 2023. Well, we're doing a lot of podcasts for the All Things TechIE Podcast before we go over to Barcelona and ISE 2023. And RTI celebrates 30 years at ISE 2023. I'm delighted to have the RTI Head of Global Marketing, Bill Hensley, with me today. Hi, Bill.
Hello, Justin. Good to be here.
Wow. So 30 years of RTI. You're going to have to tell me how you got involved with RTI and where it all began for you.
Well, actually, I met RTI just a few years ago. I've been in the industry, kind of grew up in the industry for the last 9 years or so with the current RTI CEO, Joe Roberts. Joe signed on to Nortec, then known as Core Brands, a couple months after I did back in 2013. And then he left Nortec a few months before I did. And when I left Nortec, he immediately reached out to me and said, well, let me tell you what I'm doing at RTI. And he was in the middle of speaking with RTI about coming on as a CEO. So I did a little consulting with them and then came on full-time in right going into, or I guess in the middle of COVID. So it was an interesting time working entirely remotely. But what struck me was my impression of RTI when I got here was quite different from what I'd understood as a competitor of RTI. I had always seen it, more of a simpler, for your media room kind of solution. And the guys quickly set me straight and did so around what we call Integration Designer, our application programming platform. So it was a lot of education there, and thinking that, it made me rethink immediately, what my perception of RTI was and what the market's perception of RTI should be. So if I could fast forward really quick into ISE, we're going in with a theme that we call One Platform, Unlimited Opportunities. And the One Platform, Integration Designer. Right now it's Integration Designer 11 is our most recent launch. Exciting, setting the world on fire, winning some awards. In fact, one that I can't talk about yet that will win at ISE.
Well, we're just
And
dropping that there.
there you go. Boom.
Well, just to say that RTI elevates the smart home and smart business with intuitive and powerful suite of control and automation solutions. Award-winning, as you just mentioned, RTI portfolio remotes, touch panels, control processors, AV distribution is programmed with customized and the renowned RTI Integration Designer programming software. Now going into Integration Designer 11, we're going to talk about that in a moment, enabling integrators to deliver exceptional and personalized control solutions to their clients. Now, you know,
that was a mouthful.
That's a mouthful. I know. Again, it's great when you get the press releases and you can just have that written down right there. But
why we write that stuff, right?
But you know, working in higher ed, I see a lot of the major big companies, the platinum sponsors of the likes of ISE as well. And then you just go, sometimes we go, you see the other ones. And as you mentioned, it's like people get the wrong impression of what the likes of a company like RTI does. But you are covering residential, you're covering commercial, I love the fact that I've just gone onto your showcase page and, you're doing yachts and everything. But I always think, Bill, when you go down the route of residential and you have smart homes and you have the likes, I better make sure that I'm not going to set off any devices around me because I'm a smart house here myself, GOOGLE. And, and then they're coming out with Alexa is coming out with platforms as well, and they're talking about making interoperability, that the whole thing works. If you have an Alexa or you have a Google device, that is all going to talk over a common language like Matter. How competitive does that make it for RTI to get into the residential scene and say, well, actually, no, we're different? And I guess, like, you did answer that a bit there already. You say that, like, if a customer buys the likes of Google or Alexa product, it's locked down. They can't program these devices, whereas the openness of Integration Designer.
Yeah, so when we talk about custom installation market, in particular residential market, there is that element of custom that you really don't get if you're buying something at your local superstore and installing it yourself. We do play with a lot of that stuff, but what the integrator will do is find out what's important to the homeowner. So, when I mention to people, just, neighbors and such, that I work in and around custom installation, custom integration, I get these, what's that? And I say, well, smart home kind of stuff. It's like, oh, I have an Alexa. It's like, great. That's a starting point. But what the integrator does, they go in asking questions. They don't come in with a solution to begin with. It's what do you want to do and where do you want to do it? Do you want to have your lighting controlled? Do you want everything on a timer? How do you want to integrate with your interface with your house? So there's that, the processor that is connecting all those pieces. And I like to say that a control company is only as good as the connections we make.
Absolutely.
So at RTI, the absolute focus is on our drivers and creating and updating drivers every week. We have an event we call Driver Friday.
Really? Wow, that's super.
Happens on Friday, by the way.
Never guessed.
Just about every Friday of the year. It is my favorite Friday of the week. And we're either announcing a new driver or significant updates to existing drivers because we have a team that's all they do. But because we're RTI and we have an open API, we've got others that are writing drivers for us or for themselves as well. So if you're an integrator and you've got a very, I'll call it a corner case kind of need, but it's really important to you and your customer, you can get access to the RTI system to write your own driver. So that kind of flexibility that we enable integrators with, I think is second to none, really.
Now, tell me a bit more about this integration designer. Now in its version 11 and like new user interface, you call it the Coral template. So you can actually change the backgrounds as you've seen.
You can change everything. And so Integration Designer has always been about advanced customization. I mean, really unlimited customization. there's only one other company in the market that does that level of stuff, and it's a little bit harder to program and a little bit more involvement and probably a little bit more expensive for the customers as well.
We know we all know who we're talking about there.
Exactly.
Yes, of course.
But with Integration Designer, you can get that same level of customization. You can start from a blank slate and make everything exactly as you want it. And we found that a lot of our integrators are great at doing just that. But we also found that there's a great opportunity, and it was really a demand coming back from our dealers saying, we do appreciate things that are easier and faster. So with Integration Designer 11, and particularly the Coral interface, we've made it in a way that there's auto programming going on. So you bring in a particular control device, then you attach, your smart to it. You attach it to your smart TV. You bring in your cable box, your Apple TV, whatever else it is. And Integration Designer is auto designing pages for those. So you don't have to do all that kind of stuff. It's all done there in the background. And it's also working with what we call the system manager. Basically, think of that thing that oversees all of your activity, and it knows where you have what, where. So let's say you create a macro for a device in your living room that's accessing your audio system. And then you've got something else to access the same amplifier. And you don't need to rewrite that part of the driver. System manager will know what you've done. It'll bring all that in. So you're writing or modifying less lines of code. So it really speeds things up. So that auto programming coupled with the Coral interface makes for a really faster, much faster experience for the integrator. In fact, we say it's the fastest custom installation ever.
Like I'm looking at the photo here at the moment, Bill, and it reminds me of a Windows operating system type of layout, but it's your
Integration Designer you're looking at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it running on Windows, or is it your own proprietary system?
I'd say it's our own proprietary system, and you're starting to speak over my pay grade here.
Okay.
Come see us at the show, and Kevin Marty, our CTO, can explain it all.
We will hit Kevin on that question, but like it's very, very clean, very it looks very much the simplicity of drag and drop, put it into a template. And
Justin, we're on version 11, so you'd think we would have got it right by now.
Right? Yes, of course. But you talk about these software updates Fridays.
Driver Friday, yeah.
Oh, Driver Friday, yeah. That doesn't slow down people's operations. Like it's not an auto update, or if it is an auto update on drivers that they have, it's not going to be like when you turn on your computer and sometimes you go, oh no, don't tell me there's an update on my computer.
It won't tell you that things aren't going to work because you need an update. But if you're the integrator and you're opening up one of your clients' projects because they want something else happening, for whatever reason you open it up, we're going to tell you, you've got this driver, this driver, and this driver that are not the most recent. What do you want to do? And within Integration Designer, you don't need to jump out to a typical driver store, copy the driver, bring it into your folder, and then launch it. Integration Designer 11 connects you immediately to that, so you can see the full list. It'll tell you what's up to date, what's not, and when you read the driver notes, you'll be able to see, well, it's a UI enhancement, not essential, or it's a major bug fix. Yes, let me get that right now. So we give the dealer that opportunity to take that knowledge and make a better experience for their customer.
Mm-hmm. Now, with that, I'm also saying that the interoperability and cross platforms, like you can use this on a mobile device. Like a great photo of it looks like you're opening up an app on your phone. You can run everything from there. Going on down that route, does the end user have to have all RTI hardware? Like I know from working in higher ed, sometimes a tender is one and you could be having Crestron, and the next time you could be having Extron, and sometimes all these hardwares all mix and match together, especially in my old university that I worked with. That used to be happening, like one classroom had Extron, the other classroom had Crestron. How often do you have things where with RTI that people might say, oh, I have an AMX touchpad, will it work with RTI?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be more of a commercial kind of question. Usually we will find somebody saying, I've got, insert competitor here, system in my home, it's not working for me. My friend is pretty happy with their RTI system. What can you tell me? So it's a little bit, easier, if you will, of a lift to get into that kind of discussion. To your point about some customers might want to use their own personal technology. So if I've got an iPhone, yeah, you can load up the RTI application on your iPhone. You can drive everything from there. It's not really your best experience in your home theater, because you're, changing the channel and the phone rings and suddenly you've got one device. So, there's certain areas where you really want that dedicated remote or, dedicated touch panel on the wall because it's always powered, it's always on. But there's those times where you're on the go or you're just mobile enough around your house and you do want to have the RTI application on your phone, on your tablet. It's there for you.
The products, you have everything listed here from control processors, remote controls. So how much goes on behind the hood when you, let's say you want to have a home cinema, like you need to have the XP3 control processor and then the touch pad on the wall to control, and then the software.
Well, again, if it's just your home theater, you can probably get in and out with less equipment. So in the heart of any system is going to be your processor. So the XP3 that you mentioned, that's a great single room. It'll scale a bit, but think of it as a single room processor. Then you go up to the XP6S or the 8V. Then you've got plenty of power for your whole home or your commercial setting. And there's a lot more ins and outs on the 8V. So, there's certain reasons why you'd want that. But, think of your processor and then think of Integration Designer 11 that we've just talked about, being the thing that you're going to use to connect and control everything. And then you've got, what is your control device? Is it going to be a remote? Is it going to be your iPhone? Is it going to be a touch panel? So you start bringing that in, and depending on where you are, what kind of control you need, the dealer will work with the customer to come up with that solution. And it could even be, I'm outside by my pool. What's the best control for my hot tub? I say, well, it's going to be our U3 water resistant controller, because why would you want to drop your remote in the hot tub? But with the U3, go ahead, throw it in the pool and pull it out and it's going to work fine. So there's a application for everything, an opportunity for everything. And at RTI, we have that flexibility to let the dealer program it any way they want to.
Now, people don't think about these things in residential. Like, well, in Ireland, we don't have pools outside, But how heavily tested would you have these waterproof touch panels?
Well, the U3 remote is rated to IP66, which is I think we say it's water resistant. So if you drop it in the pool, it's going to be fine. If you go diving with it down 100 meters, it's going to probably not do real well. But for the typical application, pool or a sauna in the home, laundry room, kitchen, you can destroy a lot of equipment with water. So if you're at risk of that, why not have a great solution that doesn't offer that risk to you?
Also, unveiling at ISE is the KX4, the 4-inch in-wall touch panel. I like the look of your new KX4 touch panel. Single room commercial applications such as meeting rooms, classrooms, lecture halls. Yes, absolutely. The KX4. So it has 4, if not 5 buttons down the bottom of your new touch panel, and neat, very neat design.
Yeah, you mentioned that you do a lot of work in education. So the KX4 is perfect for that. It's a great single room solution. It is your touch panel. It does have hard button control, and it's got a processor built into it. So that can be your single device that is controlling everything in your room. So classroom or lecture hall, think of it, your smart boards, your video display, your projection screens, your lighting. So the instructor walks in the room, they hit one button or tap on one spot on the touch panel itself. The shades go down, the lighting sets right, the microphone at the lectern turns on, the amplification pops up after the mic is turned on because you want to sequence things correctly so you don't end up blowing up your speakers. All of that happens with that single touch. So it makes a simple and repeatable installation. So you do the first classroom, and then we want to do a bank of 7 others. With Integration Designer 11, you're able to save your programming and just load that same file into the next KX4, and it's just a rinse and repeat as you go down the aisle, out down the hallway.
I love the fact that you're saying that the simplicity of one button touch control, you can control so many. Like I know from just thankfully I use a bit of Google, and they've made commands that if I have, but again, if I have all the devices that are Google, I can do these type of things, but that but again, it doesn't give me the openness of if I wanted to change things myself.
Exactly.
That RTI could do. Well, with integrators and going in and doing these installs, like I know you do your training. How easy is it for an integrator to say, you know what, I want to get trained up in RTI software and your new application? Do you do online courses, or is it in class?
We have a full online program. We call it RTIXCEL. So the integrator, registers with us. They get approved as a dealer. They buy their initial training kit, which is that KX3 processor we mentioned ago. It's our T2X remote, one of our top selling remotes. It is a license for the RTI panel, which works on your phone or your tablet. And then the training will walk you through in a half a day or so of everything you need to know to go in and get that first system done. So you're successful from day one. Of course, then you can go on to more training, and we have a full programming certified programmer course that you can take, which I think is about 24 different courses in the whole curriculum. And you come out of there with an advanced certification, knowledgeable to do just about anything. So back to the you had mentioned in education or other commercial settings, you're running into, well, I got an AMX system here, but what can we do over here? Back to that KX4. So with a half a day of training and a KX4, an integrator can go in there. There could be, another control brand running the entire school, but let's say there's a new wing of classrooms. We want to outfit 2 of them with single room control to give that one button kind of experience. We can go in there and do that, and it doesn't have to connect to the rest of the control system. RTI can make it happen. That integrator can get in there and do that again with an important amount of training, but a limited amount of training.
A lot of your competitors have a back end for integrators and tech support, like myself in a university, to be able to see if something goes wrong in a room. Does RTI have that ability?
We do. We call it RTIQ, and it gives you visibility over every system you've installed that you've registered into the RTIQ platform. Something goes down, you're going to be the first to know. And it's great when the integrator knows before the customer knows that there's an issue or an opportunity.
Absolutely. And being able to fix it, hopefully, on the cloud before having to walk into the room. You have a full page, as I mentioned, on your RTI site of different case studies. Working with RTI for so long, have you had any case scenarios where you just go, wow, I love that, or I was involved with that, or I've seen some of that, and just go, I'm so glad to have made a difference to this end user?
Well, there's always those. One of the most, I guess, kind of humorous case studies was one of our integrators did one with the United States Department of Homeland Security. I got a phone call one day from Special Agent Hammer in the Atlanta office. And I think usually, if I got a call and somebody says this is Special Agent Hammer, I'd think, what have I done?
Or just go, very funny, and hang up.
Exactly, yeah. But it was a recommendation, and it was a couple conference rooms they needed done rather quickly. And that case ended up being product itself was the VXP82, which is a combination video switcher and processor in a single unit. And our integrator was able to go in and quickly deliver that again for the Department of Homeland Security. But I think what I like hearing the most is when someone just tells me how much it simplified their life. I got a call from a an unhappy customer about a year ago, and she ended up being unhappy because I guess our phone lines were kind of busy and she couldn't get through. She needed a battery. And I said, well, I said, I know how to get you a battery. You've called the right place. But along the way, she said, and she described the model I had, and I didn't know that model number. And I looked it up and it was about 12 years old. And she says, it works great. It's just, I think the battery's dead. And I thought, my goodness, we talk about, reliability.
Well,
and that was just the exact.
Absolutely. Like we do have old classrooms from the times I've worked in different universities, and you go, yeah, how's this kit still going? But I think 12 years with one touch panel might be a good record.
It was awesome, yeah.
Now, celebrating 30 years, as we mentioned, I hear that you're going to have some birthday cake at ISE one of the days.
Yeah, we are going to cut a little cake in the afternoon on Wednesday, the second day of the show. Just doing a quick acknowledgement. We're focused on the future, but every now and then it's fun to look back. And I think technically it was probably a few months behind the actual anniversary.
Yes, of course.
But, who doesn't like cake? I mean,
who doesn't like cake? Right? Yeah, I recognize it was 1992. So yeah. But of course, with COVID, the changes of ISE in May in Barcelona and so forth,
it's
gave us
nice.
difficult.
Yeah, Barcelona in May was absolutely beautiful. It'll be a little
chillier
this
like
year, but,
I remember last year I was offered to do similar to what I'm going to be doing this year as media, and I was like, do I, don't I? Am I going across? Am I not going across? And I said, you know what, I better stay safe. And there was too many case numbers, and seeing the photos of people out having drinks, influencers lounges and stuff, and I said, I have missed out. I'm definitely going this year.
Yeah, and it ended up being a show that I don't recall really any issues with COVID spread here and there, but it wasn't like Infocom then in Vegas the month later, where it seemed like everybody that went to the show got sick. So hopefully we're in a better spot. You never know until you know, but double vaxxed, double boosted, you name it. Feeling kind of confident.
Before we end, Philip from your PR company said that I have to mention your past before you joined RTI, and I'm so amazed, Bill. You were involved with Hello Kitty for years.
Yeah, about 16 years, I think.
And
it was another lifetime and a whole different market, of course.
How does one go from Hello Kitty, a Japanese well-known brand, to audiovisual?
Well, yeah. So I came out of consumer marketing, and I think when I got into this business, I said to the team I was working with, I said, I've probably sold as much electronics as all of you put together, but it's all been pink. So let's do this. But a lot of, I'll say marketing concepts do transfer from different categories. How do you communicate to the customer who needs to know what they need to know about your product? So what's fun here in this business is just the scope and the opportunity of what we can do to change people's lives. And a lot of times it's luxury system and on a yacht and things like that. But a lot of times it is tools that help somebody aging in place. And we take some of the load off of what they need to do to keep the house, up and running. And it's hard to get up the stairs too often. So I don't want to have to go up there at night and check to make sure I turn off the lights. Having that one button control, done. So, it's a lot of fun. But Hello Kitty was a great brand to work with. A lot of great memories there. I still think people,
have you got a bit of PTSD? Like you mentioned the fact like I got. Everything was pink. Have you got PTSD every time you see something pink now at this stage of going, God, no, don't bring me back there? Yeah. After 16 years.
Please, no more pink. No, it was a lot of fun. A lot of great people, working in around the industry. Made a lot of lifetime friendships there. Absolutely great.
Well, your booth is going to be in, I believe, Hall 5. Am I correct? I don't have my sheet in front of me, but I think you're in Hall 5.
We're in Hall 2.
Hall 2.
Hall 2, space 2K150.
And Wednesday for some cake cutting to mark the occasion. What other exciting things? You mentioned the touch panel and your new application and the Integration Designer 11. What other stuff are you excited for people to see at your booth?
Well, I'm excited for people to see it all working together. So last year at ISE, when the show was first getting postponed and then potentially canceled, we really slimmed down our display.
As did everyone. Like I think everyone's looking forward to just really blowing things out of the park at ISE this year.
Exactly. So my favorite thing is, in fact, I'm working on the videos for it right now, is we've got an integrated presentation in the front of the booth that uses the RTI system to synchronize the lighting with a video that's playing across 4 different screens. I've got a 1x3 above a large monitor. And again, the lighting is all synchronized through Integration Designer 11 in the RTI system. So just showing the integrators what we can do. We've got residential in one focus area, and we've got commercial in another focus area. And again, it's that one platform, Integration Designer 11, RTI, unlimited opportunities from residential to commercial. They didn't, I should say, we didn't create the term resi-mercial, but whoever did, I think, was thinking of RTI when they came up with that.
So booth or hall 2, and if people aren't getting over to ISE, the best place to find RTI is rticontrol.com.
rticontrol.com, or follow us on our social media. You can find all the links at any page on rticontrol.com, but that'd be the best place to start. So
when do you fly out, Bill?
I fly out tomorrow afternoon.
Wow. So I'm probably one of your last Prequel interviews before you get bombarded with interviews over at ISE.
It's been a busy week. It's a long flight, but I don't feel too bad. I did talk to our sales director who lives in Australia.
Wow.
And he's got a 38-hour trip to get to Barcelona. So not so bad from him.
I've been talking to some integrators who are going over to Vegas, I believe, now. I think they were just heading over in the airport, and then in a couple of days' time they're going to go back to ISE in Spain. I'm thinking, wow, jet lag.
yeah. I usually need a couple of days to get acclimated, but we hit the ground and get started immediately. The booth is, I saw the pictures, the structure's up, our gear starts going in, over the weekend. We'll be ready to go Tuesday morning.
Such logistics. I always think such logistics. Like my biggest worry is, like, have I packed a microphone to do interviews and my camera into my suitcase, and have I got enough stickers and swag to give away to people that meet me? You guys have a lot more to worry about.
It's an involved presentation, but when it all works, it's great, and it always works out.
It does always work out. And if you go on to Integrated Systems Europe Instagram, you see empty halls, and I always think, wow, the amount of technology, equipment and lighting and electricity going into these rooms is just phenomenal. Really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to meeting yourself as well, Bill. I do hope to get over. My schedule is just crazy, but I do hope to get over to get some cake. If not, get to talk to you over at ISE.
We'll see you there. Hall 2, 2K150 RTI.
The All Things TechIE Podcast is a product of the Extreme Media Network. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie. That's XTREME media.ie.